doing this. So if I was working on the banner, probably a height and width ratio of 900 by 200. Because my Mac doesn't have a good width, I'm going to go 900 by 800 by 150. I'm going to open up, actually I'm going to do the entire big one because there are many Photoshop features that I would like to show you. Okay, so I'll do the larger design. I'll do 800 by 450. I'm going to open up the files that I will use. The files that I'm going to use are I needed a village, um, and you'll see I needed a lake, I needed a ledge, I needed a Viking, so I picked up a few Vikings. So I'm going to pick up these ones. I'm going to close this. Close this. So I started with this one. I'll start with the village. I needed a village. I just looked up a village. It doesn't look like a Viking village, but you know what? By the time and that was a Control A, Control C, by the way. By the time I paste it, scale it down, it will be okay. And we just saw the stamp tool. I put the stamp tool to immediate use. That's the stamp tool. Press the Alt key and start painting a few more trees there. A lot of this is going to get erased. Actually, I might just get it big and call it a day. Yeah, just leave it at that. Probably just enough to cover my scene. Yep, I'll leave it at that. Won't muck around. Start with that. Second thing, I needed a lake. I'll change my tolerance. I'm using a magic wand tool. The magic wand selects everything which is of a similar color. Change my tolerance to 32 is the default. It should pick up a lot of the blues. I'll change it to 50. When you change these values, Photoshop remembers them. So next time you use the tool, you should try to reset those values. 40 maybe. Okay, I'm happy with 40. I'm going to take all of this water, slap it on here. Yeah, we've got a bit of lake in and out. Just trying to make it into a lakeside village. Probably not the best lake picture. I'm probably better off taking this bit of a lake, pasting it. Nah, not happy. Not happy. going to take this, try a different strategy, paste it below, move the village on top, and what I'm going to try and do is these green fields, I'm going to try and make them look like water spots, as if water has filled into these fields. Yeah. So there, so I've just wanted some water there, and the way I layer things, many of these things don't even get seen towards the end, but I still keep sort of trying to build just so that I work towards the feel that I want. So yeah, something like that. I can had something. It's a lie, but that's okay. I'll live with it. Now, when I was planning this, I wanted something like this. I wanted something kind of a ledge on which the Viking was standing and looking over a city that he's about to conquer, or something like that. That was the feel I had in mind. You know, the conqueror looking over before he raids the village and enslaves all the people and stuff like that. So I really wanted this ledge somewhere, and I wanted some water below it. So yeah, so that's. Now the thing was, because the person standing here is going to pretty much be in focus and the village is going to be out of focus, I will make a copy of this before I destroy it. If I go to filter, blur, and put Gaussian blur, you can see I made it out of focus there. And I'll apply it to this one as well. You see the water below? Filter, apply it again. So everything is blurred now, right? And I also have the sharp village. I've got the sharp village, I've got the blurred village. Now on the blurred village, I'm going to add a layer mask. The layer mask basically says that wherever I paint with white, that will be opaque. Wherever I paint with black, that will be transparent. So wherever I paint with black, see this? It becomes transparent and I can see what's happening below. And what I can do is, as a result of this, come here, I'm going to add a layer mask. We'll go to my layer mask, and so a bit of the foreground is in focus. Can you see that? And then it slowly goes to out of focus. Now I'm going to use this guy because you see in my final thing that guy was colored. Let me show you the final version, and that will give me an opportunity to show you some tools. So you can see how this guy's got some color, but the original image I used was black and white. I'll show you what I did with this guy as well. So lake job is done. I'm going to close it. Control W. Ledge job is done. I'm going to close it. Control W. Village is done. Control W. Don't save. And where's the guy? Where's the guy? Did I close him by mistake? Now I want to avoid using this guy because of copyright issues, but I just want to use this black and white picture to show you a few things. So first thing, copy, Control A, Control C, job done, close it, come to here, Control V. Okay, A, C, V. Okay, there he is, standing here in the corner, perfect. I got extra bits and pieces. Add a layer mask, use the black brush, and you can see I use layer mask almost as if my life depended on it. And there you go, just taking it off. Not perfect, but you know what, do the job. If I want it perfect, I can go back to white, take a smaller brush, and see that? I can bring him back. I'll bring back the face here. There you go. Okay. If I was very obsessive. There you go. And you can see that halo is because if I press X, the black and white swaps. The halo is because I did not perfectly erase it, but there you go, if I wanted to. Now, I'm using this guy because I want to show you some things. To make this guy into color, I decided to color the hair gold because rich kings, royals, golden hair, golden crown. So I decided to take yellow. And again, I was driven by the feel, not because Vikings have yellow hair or whatever. So I wanted yellow hair. Now, under the brush tool, there's something that allows me to apply hue saturation. And I often joke that Photoshop is expensive software because it gives you several ways of doing the same thing. Way number one, I can make a selection around the hair, okay, and I can go image, adjustment, hue saturation. I can colorize, and I can give it golden color, and I can mask it, and I can do several ways of doing that. Okay, way number one, selection and color. I can do a mask and color. Way number two is I can use this color replacement tool. Now the color replacement tool has got a cursor in the middle, which means wherever the cursor clicks, it stays within the boundary. And see that it sort of stays almost perfectly there. Enough. Color replacement tool. Change the color replacement tool to some skin color. Slightly bigger brush. There. So I've given him a skin color. They have made several black and white movies into color. I know they haven't painted it frame by frame. They've basically written a code that says this grayscale translates to this color, and they've actually done it frame by frame, and a few black and white movies have been released in color. And then I wanted a bronze kind of a feel to the jacket because it already had a metallic color. I didn't have to do too much. I just had to go and get the coppery brown and use the color replacement tool, and the color replacement tool was handy once again. And then I thought, oh, I might as well cheat and make his underneath shirt or whatever that armor is same color. And there. From where did the color go? So from this to this, okay, and that's why I mean you'll see designers who show Photoshop on YouTube. They'll always say Photoshop is magic. I mean, it is indeed magic to be able to do this. Really, and during my own lifetime as a multimedia professional, this was incredibly difficult. One of the earliest jobs we had was there was a very expensive ad shot in Mumbai, Bombay now Mumbai, of a biscuit, and the biscuit pack was brown. The ad was shot, they spent a few $1,000,000 on the ad, and then they decided to change the packaging of the pack. It went from brown to blue. And the agency asked us, we were doing pretty well in 91. We were quite well known as wizards back then as well. We were invited to court for changing the color of the biscuit pack. I remember sort of putting my hands up and saying, no, can't do that. Because those days you needed to do masking and a lot of stuff. These days, I would do 10 seconds, 250 frames like this, easy. So, and you can see it retains the shade, and that's the biggest thing, the lighting and shading, everything is retained. So the tools are fantastic, and you can do things that were not imaginable before. Okay, let's come back. So we have got some layers. What have I put here? Got these layers. Now this guy also, when I decided to go away from this fella, I decided to use this guy. But this guy was facing the front, and I wanted him to face the back side. So what did I do? I took the stamp tool. Take the stamp tool, and it's a bit gross, I know, but by the time I'm done, it won't be gross because it'll be the back side of his head. So you can see how I got him to look the other way around. Cool. It just takes a little bit of creativity thinking how I can do it. I did not sort of have any intention of doing that. And okay, there's a fur collar. So because there's a button, I'll just add the fur collar all the way to the back. Come on. Yeah, there you go. The front becomes the back. There's one more thing I want to show you with this, and this is taught by my teacher who taught me a lot of special effects. To make it believable, I made a duplicate of him. That's a duplicate. Control T for transform. Right click, distort. So I'm just going to bend him down. Cool. Looking on the rocks down. Pretty cool. Yep. Put him below the guy. Image, adjustment, hue, saturation. If you kill the lightness on anything, it becomes dark. So now he looks believably standing on the ledge. Very important when you do these kind of things. And I see a lot of people on their Facebook that they just went to Paris, and you can see the edge not matching, the shadow not matching. So you really should put your photograph in an environment where you can slap yourself with a reflection and make it look really believable, you know. So if you put yourself next to a Porsche and say, this is my new car, you're going to flip it, put an reflection on the window, and then people will say, yeah, he was really standing there. Might be his new car. Okay, so I'm just going to reduce the opacity, filter, blur it. There are a little bit of extra pieces there, but you know what, who cares, who notices where the shadow come from. Maybe he's holding a spear. You can get away with anything. So now that's pretty much set, okay? And you can see all that lake I was bothered with in the beginning doesn't even matter. It's not even seen now. This ledge, it's too sharp. I'm going to click on the ledge, and really, if you are a really nice person, that would be ledge. That would be village original. That would be village blurred. But once I knew how to change my layers without going here, I stopped doing this. And if you are in the move tool, you can pretty much right click and you can go to any layer. Oh, what did I do? I stuffed up. So I would isolate them, it will give me one by one. I go back to the ledge. So pretty much you can go to the move tool and choose which layer you want to jump to. So that's the topmost layer, the face. Before that is underneath is a layer 0, underneath is village original. It puts all of them one below the other. So you come here to the ledge, take the burn tool. You have things like burn and dodge. I'll just demonstrate what it is. So dodge adds a highlight. Can you see that? It makes it bright. It's an old photographic term. I don't know if Steven must be old enough to remember olden days photography, darkroom photography now. Yes, so when film used to get overexposed in the darkroom, they used to do this burning and dodging to fix the exposure, and that is what this is. It comes from the term burning and dodging comes from olden days. So I'm just burning it a bit. See that? Just so it doesn't look too clean, too sharp edged. There you go. I even have a blur tool somewhere here. I have a sponge, and this one I think I have a blur tool. Blur tool. So the blur tool will allow me to kill these very sharp edges. It just takes a few pixels off, and there. I'm happy with that. Now it looks. Now the final thing is your title, things for your buttons if you are doing a game interface. The title. Understand this one thing before we do this. Whenever you have more than one text, gopinathmutia.com, 3 words. Each word should be, for readability, each word should be different size, different color, different font, or all of the above. You can use all of them together, but you can see that's why it becomes readable. 3 different distinct colors. The eye starts registering them as 3 different objects, easy to read. Okay? So, we'll do that. I'm just going to have the Viking village. Put a really small. I'm just going to put one. I'm going to delete the old one. So that's the. Also, I tend to put them in order of sort of importance. They're small. If you press Alt and move, it makes a copy. All caps here. Viking is my main thing. I don't know, maybe here, maybe like this. Because the is less important, I might actually do this. I might do it this way, I don't know. And I might just spread it out. If I go to somewhere here, yep, these are the extra text features. I can set the distance between text, and if I increase it to 100, you can see how it spreads out. 75, maybe 70, maybe 65. Yeah. So there, I've got, but that's not really correct because I'm going to change the font now, and it's all going to go all over place. So I'm going to go back to my Viking, change the font, Times New Roman, Georgia. These are fonts that's very royal. Georgia bold. Yep, I'll take Georgia bold, and I'll scale it back to come back here. So Georgia bold. Now, just for the sake of style, what I might do is, and it just occurred to me because when I see the V and V together, I'm gonna come back here. I'm going to duplicate Viking. I just need the V. Oops, wrong one. Viking copy. And this V, I'm going to invert it. I don't know. Sorry?
Looks like an A there.
Yeah, I just thought it would look good, the Viking village, but yeah, you're right. It does look like an air. Bad idea. Okay, so we're back. Okay, so I've got my title here. I'm just going to finish it off. I want to show you a few things in terms of the effects. So that's the Viking again. The idea was golden robe, the kings, and the village was going to be green or something. Village farming, you can see the village below, predominantly green. Now, how do I make those things, those shiny little things and those borders? Okay, I'll show you that and I'll wrap it up. Quick demo of that one. I'll leave though as it is, just give it a nice drop shadow. So when I give a drop shadow, I tend to pull it out so I can actually see my shadow. Increase the size and the spread a bit. And you can see there it is there. So that just adds to the readability, and you can see when I turn it on and off, you can see the difference. For the Viking, what I had done was I did two things to make it this goldenish thing. You see that golden thing? There are two things I did for it. First thing under effects is I added under bevel and emboss. There's a texture. Okay, there's a texture, and I can emboss a texture. I'm just going to put any texture really. Yeah, I've just taken some kind of a texture I had, and you can choose any texture. I have some textures from them. I'll just take any texture. So I've embossed it. After that, I can go to filter, render, lighting effects. Okay, it needs to be rasterized. I'm going to make a copy of it, and then I'm going to convert it to a smart object or rasterize it. So I've rasterized it. Rasterize means it has become pixels. I can't change the text anymore, but I made a copy in case I do need to. Maybe there was a spelling mistake, so just a backup in case. So if I go to filter, render, lighting effects, what this light does is and you can see the light now coming over this. See this light? It adds a bit of a shine. It adds a bit of a shine and a highlight. And if I click OK on top, I got that. So I got my shine and highlight. I'll go to effects, stroke. I want a stroke outside, and just a bright yellow outline. I can have a gradient as well in that stroke. I can fill it with some kind of a gradient if I wanted to, and I can change the gradient. So I can change the gradient. I can change the angle of the gradient, and I might add a drop shadow as well. Can't see the shadow, and there is my shadow coming up. Yep, there. Very little, very little. Okay, so that's my Viking, and I just do a plain simple village. I'll probably make the font a bit smaller. I'll probably give it a stroke just so that I can see it. Stroke. Stroke outside, dark green. And give it a drop shadow as well. But there, that's my graphic card put together. So you can see what I do. If you follow my whole process, the process involved layering. I just keep layering things, and I make every attempt to have my objects stand out, especially my text. I keep adding filters, I keep adding strokes, shadows to lift it up. So that's the main goal. Photoshop has a million features. I've shown you what I use very often. The stuff I used in this 30-minute demo is pretty much what I use all the time for all of my things. This has got all of my favorite tools: color replacement, layer masks, text effects, and I use this all the time. So that's in 30 minutes. I'm going to take all of my text, move it down, somewhere here, and if you wanted from this one, you could extract your banner. So you could pretty much go Apple Shift C. So Shift C copies all layers. You have to be on a visible layer for that to work, by the way. Only then will it copy all layers. I would probably not even use this guy in a banner. In a banner, I'd probably just go, yeah, I just end my banner there.